back to Couch Conversations. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. I'm excited to be here with y'all once again. I got a good show for y'all tonight. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to get into that. We also have a new segment tonight called Confessions. So I'm excited about that. Um, yeah, I'm just excited about tonight's show. So tonight's topic was requested. You guys know I take requested topics, so it was requested. Thank you to everybody watching on YouTube. If you're tuning on YouTube, thank you to everybody watching on Facebook as well. Tonight we're going to be talking about spiritual practices. Like I said, this was a requested topic. Be sure to share the live. We're going to get into Cash App games in a little while, so if you're already tuned in, be sure to share the live and tag somebody and comment done or comment with your Cash App tag. And later on, we're going to get into Cash App games at the end of the show. And somebody's going to win some money tonight. So I'm excited about that. Of course, I want to talk about the block party first. I'm excited, super excited about the block party. It is going to be a very dynamic event. Thank you to everybody that's been tapping in, vendors, people getting VIP tables. Thank you to everybody. Y'all don't want to miss this event. This is definitely going to be the best block party I've had. I've put a lot more planning into this, so I'm excited about it. It's our 5th anniversary. This year is co-sponsored by Flash Drive LLC, so shout out to them. You can't get Couch Conversations. If you know how to get it on YouTube, you can get it on YouTube. Let me see. Let me help y'all out. Let me help y'all out. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and letting me know when you can't get on the show too as well. I do. I just be wanting to help y'all get on. And for those of you that ask for reminders about the show, let me just let you know that you can get live notifications about the show. All you have to do is when you see the 3 little dots at the top of the video, click the dots and scroll down to the bottom, and it says turn on live notifications. And whenever I go live, you will be able to get a notification to join me. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to help you get in, girlfriend. For those of you that know about the YouTube, you can also go to YouTube and search The Real Danni Gyrl. So I'm trying to direct somebody to YouTube really quick. But like I was saying, this is going to be the best block party I've had. I'm very excited about it. We've put a lot of planning into it, a lot of time, and a lot of money. So I'm excited. Okay, so let me talk to y'all about the block party real quick before I get into the show. This is our 5th annual DMEG block party. It will be hosted by the one and only Black Thompson. We will be honoring Uncle Chuck, Swoop White Bear, Desiree Demure, and Darrell Madison. We will have an on-site bar, vendors. We have some really good vendors this year. Live performances. We have the live band Pneumatic. Y'all love Pneumatic. They're usually our band when we do a block party. We're going to have some giveaways. 360 photo booth. Of course, we're going to have some media personalities, which we'll be getting into a little bit later. I'm going to try to get each one of them on the show. Hey, Sherry. Okay. It's a lot going on. I got all kind of notifications popping up and all kind of stuff. So yeah, gotta get this tablet together. Y'all just work with me. I got my tablet today. My printer wasn't working. We're gonna have the fashion show curated by Gigi Johnson. We have some amazing designers, and this is Saturday, June 13th, from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. in West Covina. The tickets are on sale on Eventbrite. It's free entry. VIP tickets are $10, and VIP tables start at $65. Day packages are $150. If you have any questions, you can go to the website, which I show at the end of the show, and click on Block Party and get all the information. You can also make reservations on there and see the Eventbrite logo. Trying to figure out what the hell is going on, because it say I was live. I'm live now. I don't know what the hell. Y'all, I got all kind of technical difficulties. Every time I get ready to do couch conversations, I set the show up, and then I come here to y'all to do the show. And when I get here to y'all to do the show, it starts like giving me all kind of technical difficulties. It doesn't want to, like, my microphone didn't want to work today. It just be all kind of stuff going on. And yeah, y'all just bear with me. Shout out to Aisha. Shout out to my sister. My sister will be here. Y'all know I love my sister. The Ghetto View on YouTube. It's all about support. It's her brand. She will be here doing media. If y'all know anything about her brand, y'all gonna want to tap in and talk to her while she's here. She's not in California often, so I'm going to be happy to have her. Like, if y'all know me from Vegas, y'all know my sister. My sister is the one that kind of put me on out there. Hey, Champagne. So we gonna get into this subject tonight. Y'all make sure y'all share the live. Because this is really an interesting topic I got for y'all tonight. So tonight's conversation, we will be talking about spiritual practices. So just to let y'all know, the Cash App game starts now. If you would like to enter to win some money, share the live, tag somebody, and comment your Cash App tag when you're done. And please know that I do go verify that you shared the link and tag somebody before we send you the money. I just want y'all to know that. Because the first week we did Cash App games, people were leaving their Cash App in the comments and they were not sharing or tagging people. So I just want y'all to know that we do verify that you shared the link and tag somebody before we send you the money. Okay? Shout out to my sponsors, Flash Drive LLC. Thank you for sponsoring Cash App games for us. And let's get into the show. So tonight's topic is, first of all, y'all know, if you've been here before, I tell y'all all the time, this is a safe space, a safe place to have a conversation. This topic is for informational purposes only. Okay? Informational and educational purposes only. I do give y'all my opinions on what I think while we're having these conversations. Hi, Sharon. I do give y'all my opinions while we're having these conversations, but this is for informational purposes, educational purposes, and my opinions. Don't take nothing I say to heart. If it don't apply, let it fly. I don't want y'all getting upset over the conversation. These conversations that we have are topics that are requested. I do take requests for topics. I tell y'all to email them to me. Y'all text them to me, which is amazing because I get them faster. So this is a subject that was requested, and we're going to get into it. So we're going to talk about spiritual practices on today, and what we will be talking about is shadow work, hoodoo, voodoo, witchcraft, black magic, and white magic. This is for educational purposes only, y'all. Okay? This is a topic that people talk about, whisper about, practice in private, don't talk about openly in churches, and debate on social media. I've seen a lot of talk about these subjects on TikTok, people that actually practice certain things. I see they do educational videos on TikTok. I didn't go through those videos. I'm going to tell y'all about the ones that I have seen. I'm going to tell y'all about some stories that I've heard from people that I know, and some stories that I've seen on TikTok. So we're going to get into it about these spiritual practices. Shadow work. What is shadow work? I've had a lot of people talk about shadow work. They talk about it. I got your message, Champagne. A lot of people talk about shadow work on TikTok. I seen they were selling a shadow work book, and a lot of people don't know what shadow work is. I heard a lot of people saying that it was evil, it was conjuring spirits and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to bring to y'all what shadow work actually is. Shadow work is the process of exploring and confronting the hidden parts of yourself. It has nothing to do with spirits and witchcraft or nothing like that. It's nothing like that. This is all about finding hidden parts of yourself, the emotions, the thoughts, the behaviors, and the wounds that usually avoid, suppress, or deny. The shadow is described as the unconscious part of your personality that contains everything you've rejected or buried. Your shadow isn't just bad things. It can include suppressed emotions like anger, jealousy, resentment, shame, fear, insecurity, pride, control issues, and a need for validation. So a lot of shadow work can be done in therapy, just to let y'all know that. That's something that can be worked out in therapy. They do deep dives about your emotions, your behaviors, why you do certain things that you do. The shadow can be unhealed experiences like childhood wounds, trauma, rejection, abandonment, anything you don't want to admit about yourself. So this is what shadow work does. It reveals and gets in touch with those parts of yourself. This is something that is not anything spiritual. So I wanted to throw that in there just to let y'all know. Some people were saying this was a spiritual practice. It is not a spiritual practice. This is to bring awareness to the hidden parts of you that control you. A lot of people are taught, be strong, don't cry, be nice, don't be angry. So people suppress these emotions, they bury them, and it triggers toxic patterns. It triggers self-sabotage, unhealthy relationships, emotional reactions, things that don't make sense normally. And it's just bringing awareness to your own personality. Shadow work is not rituals or spells. It is internal work. It is you asking yourself the hard questions like, why does that trigger me? Why do I react this way? What am I avoiding? And journaling your emotions, your past, and your patterns. So that is what shadow work is. It is not dark. It is not evil. I know it has become trendy, but it's all about understanding yourself, gaining control over your own reactions, and healing your emotional wounds to become more self-aware. That is what shadow work is. Now, let's get into the conversation. And let me put this Cash App games up for y'all so y'all can know how to do that. So before we deep dive into all the specific practices, I just want to go into what spiritualism is. Spiritualism and spirituality are two different things, just to clarify that for y'all. Spiritualism is the belief that spirits of the dead can communicate with the living, often through things like mediums, psychic readings, channeling spirits, Ouija boards, astrology, healing energy, manifestation, etc. Spirituality is a personal connection to God or a higher power, usually through prayer, meditation, faith, and growth. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that we separate the two, spirituality and spiritualism. Spiritualism deals with interactions with spiritual entities. It deals with channeling spirits. It deals with energy manipulation. Um, a lot of the reason that spiritualism has gotten to the point that it is now is through TikTok, believe it or not, and manifestation coaches. Um, Also through astrology influencers and people claiming to be able to talk to the ancestors. Why do people usually choose spiritualism? They're searching for their identity, they're trying to heal from trauma, and they distrust religion. So that is going to be one of the big things we're going to talk about tonight is the distrust of religion, which is how people end up getting into a lot of these other things as far as witchcraft, voodoo, and all these types of things. We're going to get into that as well. But just to let y'all know, that's kind of where that comes from. People don't trust spirituality anymore. So we're going to get into that right now. I got a lot going on, y'all. I got the phone and the tablet. So manifestation is a spiritualism. Manifestation teaches you to attract your outcome through thoughts, energy, visualization, and affirmation. Manifestation, we're going to see manifestation in a few places throughout this conversation. So y'all just stay tuned for that. But that is what manifestation is. Thank you, Sherry. I got your message. That is what manifestation is. And some people see it as empowerment. Others see it as replacing God with self and trying to do God's job. So the question that I want to ask to the people that are watching tonight is, are we manifesting blessings or are we playing with God? When we talk about manifesting things, are we actually manifesting blessings or are we playing with God? What are we doing? Another question I have for y'all tonight is, can people unknowingly open spiritual doors? Can people unknowingly open spiritual doors? I would like to hear from y'all in the comments. So now we're going to get into witchcraft, and I'm going through the first couple of things really fast because one of the things that I wanted to spend some time with tonight was hoodoo and voodoo. Those were the biggest couple of things that people were asking me about, was hoodoo and voodoo. Now, let's talk about witchcraft. Witchcraft is a broad term that people use for describing rituals and spiritual forces and things like that that practice to influence the outcome. Some people say manifestation is witchcraft. Witchcraft includes things like spell work, and y'all remember that because we're gonna talk about spell work again. Spell work, herbal practices, rituals, energy work, and protection practices. Hi, J Flash. Witchcraft started in, hold on, because I got this for y'all. I actually went and, y'all know I'll be deep diving. Okay, so witchcraft started in ancient Egypt with spells and protection rituals. It moved to ancient Greece with oracles and potions, Europe with folk healers and cunning folks, and Africa with spiritual systems and ancestor work. So as I talk about witchcraft, it's going to bridge us into another one of these spiritual practices, because a few of these words that are used in these spiritual practices kind of cross over to a couple of them. Spell work being one, and manifestation being another, and root work. Oh, excuse me, rituals. Rituals we're going to hear a lot. Um, so originally, practitioners of witchcraft were healers, midwives, and spiritual leaders. They were not feared. They were not feared for the rituals that they did or the things that they did. They were actually well respected. And the word witchcraft actually comes from the European witch hunts back in the 1400s through the 1700s, when they were actually out accusing people of being witches, and the church linked witchcraft to evil, and they were executing people. They did not want people healing with herbs and things of that nature, so they became witches, or targeted as witches, labeled as witches. Witchcraft can be nature-based belief. So a lot of witchcraft takes place with natural essences, herbs, and things like that. And it is done for personal empowerment. So this is where we're going to get to people saying that witchcraft is used for hurting people and things like that. It's not witchcraft. We're going to clear up some things tonight that people think about different spiritual practices. Witchcraft is used for personal empowerment. Witchcraft is used to make oneself bigger. And I want to say, and it is in my notes somewhere, because I remember putting it in there. These things that people believe in are intentional. And with that being said, these practices carry power. A lot of people don't think that that is the case, but these practices carry power. I had a family member who did voodoo on me. What? Hold on. Okay, so we gonna get to voodoo, and I want to know, did they really do voodoo on you or hoodoo? Because we gonna get down to that too. A lot of people think that what is being done is voodoo and it's hoodoo, and I'm gonna tell you the difference. But a lot of witchcraft uses spiritual practice and energy work. So types of witchcraft are Wicca, which I've heard of before, and folk tradition, which I didn't get to deep dive in on that like I wanted to. But witchcraft is not what people think it is. If you've seen the movie The Craft, that's kind of more what it is than anything. And even that's a little exaggerated. How they were casting spells on each other, that was a little exaggerated. Now, this is the one that I really want to have a conversation with y'all about. We're going to get into these Cash App games one more time, y'all. Share the live, tag someone, comment with your Cash App tag, and the winner will be announced at the end of the show. And if y'all know, I put everybody's name in a hat and I draw them out. Or, well, I don't have my hat tonight. We're going to put it in something. I got something we can put it in. And we're going to put it in there and we're going to draw it out. Cash App games, okay? Share the live, tag someone, comment your Cash App tag. All right, y'all. I want y'all to sit back because we really about to get into this conversation with hoodoo. I have not had any personal experience with hoodoo, but I have heard stories about hoodoo. So we're going to get into it. And I would like to hear some of your stories as well. And then shortly, we're going to get into our couch confession segment. I'm going to tell y'all this story. I read it. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was in my email. And I'm going to read it to y'all. And we going to laugh and kiki about it together because I thought it was the pettiest shit I ever heard. I actually have 2 stories for y'all tonight. It was 3 in there. I picked 2 of the 3. And we're going to get into couch confessions in a little while. I know some of y'all were saying y'all really wanted to hear the couch confessions. So we're going to get into that in a little while. Okay, back to hoodoo. Hoodoo is a misunderstood practice. Hoodoo is not a religion. Hoodoo is not voodoo. Hoodoo is African American folk magic that was developed during slavery. It is originated from West Africa and Central Africa, and or the hoodoo comes from the slaves that came there. And they combined African traditions, Native American herbal knowledge, and European folk magic with Christianity, and that's what hoodoo is. Hoodoo was created as a survival system for protection against slave owners, for justice, for healing, for spiritual defense, and emotional strength. And if any of you watched Sinners, you remember that Annie did hoodoo and gave Smoke the mojo bag. So that is the kind of hoodoo that we're talking about. And if you remember, she blessed it. She prayed over it. She didn't just put some stuff in a bag and you know, do some random chant over it. Like, she blessed it. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about hoodoo. J Flash, I seen your comment. You're hilarious. Okay. So, root workers are what hoodoo practitioners are known as. Root workers. Conjure doctors is another name that they go by. Also, root doctors. They provided healing, protection, and spiritual guidance. And some of the information I'm going to give y'all about hoodoo tonight can be actually researched, because I did actually start researching this subject a few months back. So I didn't even know when I started researching the subject that we were going to end up having this on the show, but I happened to see a video on TikTok that sparked my interest. So some of the things that I'll be talking to you about are stories that I've heard about hoodoo, things that I've known about hoodoo, and how hoodoo is used. Believe it or not, y'all, what a lot of church people call witchcraft is actually hoodoo. I've heard people in church talk about witchcraft, and people being witches in the church, but you're not dealing with witches. You are dealing with root workers, okay? So I need y'all to understand that. Hoodoo practitioners are actually Christians. There are active, and I need y'all to hear me, because I'm about to tell y'all something that you can go research and find out for yourself. There are active root workers in the African American church. One of Kojik's most renowned bishops from back in the day was a root worker. If you don't believe me, go research it yourself. I forgot to write his name down, but if you can Google it. He was a Church of God in Christ renowned bishop, and he you want your name in the hat. Okay. He was a Church of God in Christ renowned bishop, and he was also a very well-known root worker. So what I can tell y'all about root working is done with the Bible. Okay? I need y'all to hear me on this. Tag somebody that you know needs to hear this, because I need y'all to understand that people are working roots on y'all, and y'all don't even understand this. I just told somebody the other day, Sherry said it was voodoo. I'm going to get to voodoo in a minute, Sherry. I just told somebody the other day that I have actually seen hoodoo in the making. A lot of people are doing hoodoo unknowingly. Because the Bible is versed the way that it is, it can be used in ways that people don't expect them to be used. So, there was a joke going around on TikTok about people using the Bible to curse other people. And if you read the Bible, you will see in the Bible And I'm not talking against the Bible, y'all. I just need y'all to understand how hoodoo works. In the Bible, there's a scripture about cursing your crops and cursing your generations. All of these things can be used in hoodoo. Hoodoo is very Bible based, and I need y'all to understand this. Stop asking people to pray for y'all if you do not know them personally and know what their mentality is. And this is the conversation I had the other day. I stopped asking certain people to pray for me because I started finding out that people that attend regular Kojic churches, Baptist churches, Pentecostal churches, apostolic churches, whatever denomination of your church is, they're actually out here practicing hoodoo. And some of them are unknowingly. Some of them know, but some of them are unknowingly. And when you ask people to pray for you, they can pray certain prayers to bind your blessing. So I need y'all to hear me on this, okay? Psalms 23 is a scripture that is used in hoodoo for protection. Psalms 51 is a scripture that is used in hoodoo for cleansing. I need y'all to hear me on this. Somebody that I know that is a preacher on the East Coast who attends a very renowned church. We were having a conversation and I was speaking with them about some things that I have found out about hoodoo. And he even mentioned to me, well, if you need to cleanse, you open your Bible to Psalms 51 and you take a glass of water and you sit it on the scripture and you leave it overnight, maybe for 48 hours. And if you're doing a cleansing and something is really there, you'll start to see the water get cloudy. And he gave me this whole cleansing thing to go through. So I want y'all to know that it is people out here that are practicing these things and you don't really realize that they're practicing. It is very privately done. A lot of people in church don't talk about these things, which is why I'm talking about it today. You don't really hear people in church talk about any type of spiritual practices aside from witchcraft and maybe voodoo. And they're not giving you the proper definition nor the proper context of these spiritual practices. So I just wanted to get into some with you. Let's see. Hoodoo uses roots and herbs, oils and powders, spiritual baths, candles. Roots and herbs, oils and powders, spiritual baths, and candles. And I'm going to tell you why I repeated that. So when my grandfather was alive, hi Antoine, and my cousin Antoine, who's watching, is going to resonate with this story. When my grandfather was alive, he was a very big man, and he liked sweet food. So a lot of women, people at church, they would cook things for him, people at his job, especially cakes and things of those natures, pies, and they would bring them home. They would send them home. And he would not eat it. He would let everybody else eat it though. And I used to always ask him, you know, why you let everybody else eat it and you don't eat it? And he's like, well, if somebody did something to it and the spell is for me, it's going to affect me. It's not going to affect y'all. So he would bring things home and he wouldn't eat it. He would let everybody else consume. Now the thing with making a cake is you use oils and powders, quote unquote, because you use flour, you use sugar, you use oil, you use butter, you use all these things in making a cake or making a pie if you're doing it from scratch. Another thing my grandfather used to tell me was, and this is all practices of hoodoo, okay, so I need y'all to hear me. This is not voodoo, this is hoodoo. Another thing he used to tell me was he did not eat certain things made by people that was red. So he wouldn't eat your spaghetti. He wouldn't eat your enchiladas if they had red sauce. He didn't want your lasagna, anything that had red sauce on it. He didn't want it. I'm going to get back to that because that's a little bit of hoodoo and a little bit of voodoo. A lot of people don't realize that hoodoo is not about worship. Hoodoo is about producing an outcome. That's what hoodoo is for. It is for producing an outcome. So hoodoo can be used in many ways. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a story, and this is a story I seen on TikTok. And this is why I tell you to be careful about people praying for you. There was a young lady on TikTok who talked about how she met this man and she was so in love with him, and they started, trying to work on getting married. And as they got closer and closer to getting married, she started having more and more problems with him physically. And not just sexually, physically, all the way around. She was having issues with him touching her. They were having issues sexually. Just everything physical was wrong. And she couldn't understand why. So she went to her grandmother and she started telling her grandmother about how she was in love with this man and how they were having issues and she couldn't understand why. And she was asking her grandmother to pray for her. Well, what she found out later was grandma was praying for her to keep her legs closed. So in the process of her trying to find the love of her life, grandma was praying for her to keep her legs closed. And that was really genuinely affecting her, because what y'all have to realize is what you speak into the universe is energy, from your lips to God's ears and everything in between. So when you pray a prayer, especially about someone specific, just know eventually it will come to pass. So you have to be very careful about what you pray and what you ask people to pray of you, especially if they at home doing root work with their prayers, okay? And some people are doing root work and don't know that they doing root work. I'm going to tell y'all something. Anointed oil. Be careful who you get anointed oil from. Be careful who you get anointed oil from. Hoodoo can be worked through oil. So people, sometimes you go to different revivals and different things at church, and people give y'all oil and tell y'all to anoint yourself. Be careful who you're getting oil from, because you don't know what they did to that oil before they gave it to you. You have to be very careful, okay? Something else that I wanted to talk about was hoodoo operates on a few core beliefs. Objects are not just physical, they carry spirits and spiritual influence. For example, dirt from a person's grave, hair from a person's head, clothing that a person has worn. Those things have spiritual energy, as well as herbs and roots. So you have to be careful, because people that believe in hoodoo also believe that your items carry energy. This is why they tell you don't let people have pieces of your hair or pieces of your clothing. When I was growing up, my grandfather used to tell me all kind of stories. So y'all gonna hear some stories my grandfather used to tell me. Rest in peace, Papa. My grandfather used to tell me stories about clothing, which I'm gonna go into right now. If something has touched a person, it can be used to affect them spiritually. That's why people who do hoodoo may use hair, nails, clothing, or photos. Be careful of who you let take pictures of you. This is often misunderstood, but it is based on the belief of spiritual linkage. So my grandfather used to always say, as a woman, don't let a man buy you shoes. Excuse me, as a man, don't let a woman buy you shoes. And he had a whole reason for it. But as a woman, he used to say, don't buy a man shoes. because those same shoes that you give him will have the energy to leave you later. That always stuck with me in my life. He used to always be funny about people with underwear. He didn't want you giving people your underwear. And he used to tell me stories about how you could take people's underwear and place them in certain places in your house or around your house to keep a person spiritually bound to you. This is called drawing work. That's what this is called. It is for attraction. So people can use things that have a connection, a spiritual connection to you for drawing work. And this is for love drawing. So y'all homosexuals, y'all be careful about where y'all leaving y'all drawers at when y'all spending the night at these different women's houses, okay? All right, I had to zoom in for that for y'all. Antoine, you are absolutely correct. Your bloodline and your DNA matter. Okay? I don't want y'all to think that it don't. These same things that I just described, they can be used for protection work as well. For mojo bags and things of that nature. They can also be used for crossing work, which is curses, jinxes, and spiritual attacks. It can be used for uncrossing work, which is removing curses, cleansing negativity, and restoring balance. I find it weird, and I've seen a lot of people doing this over the last few years, especially with their locks. I find it weird when people take a deceased person's lock or braid and intertwine it with their hair. They don't realize that all that kind of stuff carries spiritual energy, and you have to be careful about the spiritual energy that you're exchanging with people. I said at the beginning of the show, a lot of these things are practiced in private and they are not talked about. And that is the absolute truth. You don't know what people are practicing when you're not in their presence or when they go behind closed doors. So you got to be careful. You got to just be careful about when you go places, about who you interact with, how much interaction you're giving them, and what kind of spiritual connections you're giving them. Hoodoo did not just borrow from Christianity, it reinterpreted it. Psalms are used like spiritual tools or spells, and that's what I was mentioning earlier. Prayer is combined with action. God is seen as the ultimate authority over the spell work. I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down, okay? The biggest misconception that it's all curses is not true. Most hoodoo is used for protection or for survival. For money drawing, for success rituals, and things like that. It's a religion. It's not a religion. It is a practice that people do. It is not all evil. It is actually rooted in survival from the slaves, but over the years it has been misinterpreted and used in ways that we wouldn't necessarily want people to use them. This comment is really heavy, and mirrors are gateways. Okay, now I'm happy you mentioned that, Antoine, and I'm going to tell you why. I was going to get into that. And what he was saying was a form of spell work in the mirror. He was explaining that when you talk to yourself in the mirror, and you may hear a lot of people get up and say, when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, affirm yourself, tell yourself you're great, you're rich, whatever you want to be, and affirm yourself in the mirror. Excuse me. What he actually says about that, and it made total sense. When you affirm yourself in the mirror, you're actually talking to yourself in the past, in the present, and in the future. I need y'all to hear that, okay? When you affirm yourself in the mirror, you're talking to yourself in the past, the present, and the future. Because you're speaking to yourself in the mirror, which is a gateway. And you're allowed to speak to yourself in every dimension. I hope that did not go over some of y'all heads. Because I know, and I hate to say this, but some of y'all can't comprehend on Facebook. And I'm not talking about nobody specifically that watch Couch Conversations. I'm just figuring out some people don't comprehend well. Talking to yourself and affirming yourself in the mirror is a form of spell work. Be careful how you use the Bible. Be careful. Because you can speak something over someone's life that you're not necessarily knowing that you're speaking over their life. Be careful. I heard someone joke, and this is what I was saying earlier about how the Bible uses scripture to talk about cursing generations and cursing crops and all these types of things. I've heard somebody jokingly tell somebody that, but you have to be careful of the energy that you put out, because while you're being funny and you're cursing somebody's generations or cursing somebody's crops, you may really be cursing them. I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I had this conversation with a couple people, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't think nobody has knowingly done hoodoo on me specifically, but I think that some things that were spoken over my life were spoken in a way that has affected me. And I'm trying to say this, and I need y'all to just pick up what I'm putting down, because I don't want to call nobody's names and I don't want to put nobody out there. But I've noticed, and it's just not me, it's somebody, I want to say somebody cursed our generations, and I don't know which generations. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I've really been into this. I've noticed for 2 or 3 generations of my family, people get extremely and wildly close to success, and right when the brink of success comes, they fall off. I don't know what it is or what was prayed in this family, but we gonna figure it out, because it's insane. And I thought for a while it was just me, and then I had to sit down and think about all of the people in my family and all of the things that they have accomplished and where it got them. Somebody, you know how they say somebody prayed for me and kept me on their mind. Sometimes that's not always good. But I'm going to go move on from hoodoo. I hope y'all got educated. Hoodoo is not what y'all think it is. It is not voodoo. Be careful of y'all things. Be careful of your hair. Be careful of your clothes when you go to other people's house, when you have other people around you. Be careful of these things. Be careful of who's taking photos of you, where your photos end up. I know a lot of us are on social media just posting photos, and they end up in places that we don't even know that they end up. So just be more aware and more conscious of your spirit and your soul and what you have going on. Because everybody is not your friend. And one of the questions I wanted to ask y'all was, can somebody still believe in God and practice hoodoo? Can somebody still believe in God and practice hoodoo? Can protection work cross into manipulation and control? That's what I wanted to ask the viewing audience tonight. And we're going to get into voodoo. And I'm telling y'all now, looking at the clock, this show is going to go a little bit over, and it's okay. So voodoo is a religion. Okay? Voodoo is a religion. It is not just a practice like hoodoo. It is a religion. It's an oxymoron. That's what I was thinking too. But the reason I guess I asked that was because they say hoodoo is based in the hoodoo practice is based from the Bible and based in Christianity, and you know I did say something about God being the supreme authority of the work. So I was wondering, that is one of the questions that I wanted to ask. Can someone believe in God and still practice hoodoo? Um, so voodoo is a religion, not just a practice. Voodoo comes from Togo and Nigeria. Um, it depends on who they think God is. Some folks believe in something else. That's true too. Um, Voodoo originates from West African traditions and it was fully formed in Haiti. Voodoo includes a structure, a spiritual structure or a hierarchy. So we're going to get into that. Voodoo includes a supreme creator who we call Loa. The practices are ceremonies, offerings, drummings, and dances, spiritual possession, and ancestral communication. Voodoo played a role in the Haitian Revolution, which made it both spiritual and political there. Misconceptions about voodoo is that it's evil, violent, or curse-based. It actually started focusing on community balance and spiritual connection. Voodoo is a structured religion with theology, spiritual hierarchy, rituals, and community. So, the supreme creator is Ban Yi, the distant, all-powerful, and does not interact directly. And the lower spirits are the Loa. Each Loa has a personality, preferences, strengths, and specific domains such as love, war, or protection. Spiritual possession is intentional in voodoo and a sacred ritual. Ceremonies include drumming, dancing, offerings such as food, drinks, objects, etc., etc. Symbolic drawings. Rituals are how practitioners call spirits and receive guidance. Now let me tell y'all, I'm gonna be honest. The research that I do is from books and from the internet, and it gives you what it says versus what some things we know. It says people think voodoo is dolls and pins, zombies, curses. It's actually a religion, structured and disciplined, and centered on balance and respect. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I know some people that practice voodoo, and I've heard stories of voodoo practitioners, spell workers, things of that nature in the voodoo religion. And what I did not see in this research is the sacrifice of animals and things of that nature, because they do that. I am well aware of voodoo using pins and dolls and curses. It says that they don't, and I guess this is all what is on the internet about voodoo and all that I could find. I was actually trying to find some actual real stuff. But what we know of voodoo and what they have listed of voodoo is two different things. And it basically says that what most people know of voodoo is Hollywood. So, my question to y'all about voodoo is voodoo misunderstood or feared? I didn't want to go too deep into voodoo because I actually, I'm a believer that when you get too far deep into certain things, It can be effective to your mental and your spirit. So I didn't want to go too far into voodoo and to some of these other things. I really stayed really true to spiritualism, shadow work, and hoodoo. Um, but yeah, a lot of the information that they have on voodoo in the book or on the internet is not what I know of voodoo from people that practice. And I'm going to leave it at that. What brought this conversation on was someone asked me would I do this subject based on the girl who went viral last week. 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. She showed up to get her hair done. She had chicken blood in her hair and her hair wrapped up. People advised the beautician not to do her hair, and she did anyway. And when she did, she ended up losing her baby the next day. I'm trying to keep up with y'all comments on YouTube and Facebook. But that was the story. And that is why we ended up even getting into this conversation, was because someone wanted to know how I felt about that and what I knew about that. And from what I've read about voodoo and hoodoo, is a lot of these rituals, a lot of these ceremonies need something sacrificial. And it is very wide ranged on when they say something sacrificial. It's a very wide range of things that they talk about. What I know of the chicken blood is it is used in a sacrifice, in a voodoo ritual. And this is just what I know from personally having these conversations with people that have experienced this. I feel really bad for the young lady for losing her baby, but we have to be more careful when we dealing with things and we dealing with people and we dealing with spirits, and we really have to use our discernment, especially in these times. Whatever you believe in, whether it be God, whatever spirit, it's a lot of things going on out here, and we just have to use our discernment and be more aware of the people around us. We have to be more aware of things that we touch and things that touch people that belong to us. I try to be aware of these things myself, dealing with people. I try to have discernment dealing with people. I try not to deal with people that rub me the wrong way. If I feel like you're practicing any type of spiritual practice, I try to avoid you, for the simple fact that I have seen in real time some of these things take place, and I don't really talk about them because a lot of people don't believe in a lot of this stuff. It's just, something to talk about, something to converse about. But a lot of this stuff is real. A lot of this stuff is real. People that believe in astrology, and I see somebody, Sherry, in the comments is saying the person was using astrology, doing bad, and astrology and all these different spiritual things, they kind of work hand in hand. A lot of ceremonies are done at certain times when the moon or the sun is a certain way, when the stars is a certain way. So y'all have to be careful. Be careful of who you're praying for you, even in church. Everybody in church is not walking the straight and narrow. Some people are in church doing hoodoo. And y'all got to be aware of that. Be careful of whose food you eat. I told you, hoodoo works through oils and powders. Those are two of the main things that people cook with. And if you know me personally, I don't eat at people's house that I don't know personally. I'm not one to go places and just willy-nilly eat. I don't eat at everybody's restaurant. That's because I have worked in the food industry and in restaurant management, and I also know what the standards are for a restaurant kitchen or a restaurant in general. So some places you'll see me walk in and walk out. I've done it before. I want to get into this black magic versus white magic, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So black magic and white magic, these are European traditions, originally not defined or intended to have color. White magic was associated with healing, protection, blessings, and prosperity. Black magic was associated with curses, manipulation, harm, and control. Many argue magic is neutral, and the intent defines it. So that's what goes on with a lot of these spiritual practices, is the intent that defines it. What is the intention behind what is going on? White magic, black magic, and witchcraft, they can go hand in hand. That is something to be aware of. Some witches only do white magic. Some witches only do black magic. Some witches do both. They go hand in hand. Just know that if you're out here dabbling in any of this spiritual stuff, hoodoo, voodoo, white magic, black magic, intent has a lot to do with it, but there's also repercussions to your intent. So just know, if you out here casting spells on people, that there's a repercussion to the spell. I just need y'all to hear me on this. This is something that I don't talk about often, but I don't take it lightly when I talk about it. Which is why I spend a little more time on hoodoo than anything else, because that is what we encounter most on a day-to-day basis and don't even realize it. So I want to close with ancestors and spiritual boundaries. Candy said, none of that nonsense is in my life. I know, Candy, but you got to be aware of these church people too, because they out here doing some crazy hoodoo stuff. So across hoodoo and voodoo, ancestral reverence is the common is the common denominator, the ancestral reverence. Both of these practices include honoring the ancestors and leaving offerings and seeking guidance from the ancestors. Some people believe the ancestors protect and guide. Other people believe that spiritual communication with the ancestors can be dangerous. So the cultural debate has been, should everyone practice these traditions, or should they remain within our culture? Should these practices be gate kept? I'm gonna say yeah, because this is something that don't need to spread, especially hoodoo. And the reason that I'm so big on hoodoo, y'all, is because it's Bible based. And if you go down the rabbit hole, I could just spend the whole hour just talking about hoodoo. If you go down the hoodoo rabbit hole and see how it's used in churches, in day-to-day life, and how people use the Bible to try to conjure spirits and things like that, yes, it is ancestral. It did probably do something for the slaves back in slavery. But practicing hoodoo now sometimes can be dangerous. Like I was saying earlier, about the spell work and people using spell work for love and for money and for success rituals and things like that. So it's a real touchy situation. A lot of people say spiritual power should only come from God, so it creates tension between faith, culture, and spiritual practices. People that feel like we should be in the Bible, we should be focused on God, the one and only, the highest power, God, the creator. And then you have other people that just, are manifesting, and they're saying that we believe in the universe and things like that. the earth. I talked about that earlier, the earth. Um, so it kind of brings all of this together, but a lot of people talk about, the ancestors did this or the ancestors did that. A lot of people talk about they don't practice Christianity because of the slaves. And let me tell y'all something. I need y'all to understand this, okay? I need y'all, black people, I need y'all to hear me on this, okay? The King James Version of the Bible is the version that was used for the slaves. So there are scriptures in there about slavery and the masters and this, that, and the third. If you get you an original Ethiopian Bible, and you can find one, they're not hard to find, you can get what was actually written, okay? Christianity was before slavery. It was in Africa before slavery. I need y'all to understand that it is not just a slave's religion. The Bible, the King James Version of the Bible, is absolutely part of slavery. But I need y'all to understand there is a version out there that was written, and it needs to be read by people of color. We need to get more in touch with the Creator. And I'm going to say that, the Creator. Because when you say God, it's a lot of different gods. But I'm talking about the Creator. The Creator. The Most High. The original power. We need to get more in touch with Him. And there was a saying back in the day that I'd rather know God and be wrong. I'd rather know God and be right than not know Him and be wrong. Like, that's where I stand in life. I know a lot of people talk about God and the Bible, and I get it. I don't knock what nobody believes, but I just need y'all to know where I stand with the conversation. All of these religions were created out of survival and trying to do better. That is the one thing that they all have in common. They were created out of survival and trying to do better. So it's time for Cash App games, and I already have been working on during the course of the show who the winner was, but let me double check real quick before I announce it. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. What happened to the... Okay, so I do believe that Sherry won today. Let me just double check. Because I seen a couple people commented, but I do believe Sherry was the first one to share and comment. So Sherry, we'll get you taken care of. Thank you, Sherry. The winner of Cash App games for today. One thing I do want to say before I close is all of these things were meant to be feared, and I'm not one that fears religion. I really suggest, and this is just me talking to everybody that likes to read, that don't mind picking up a book, that don't mind doing some research, because it's not a lot of people that do that now. I implore you to sit down and look at some of these other religions and some of these other practices and some of these other beliefs. I plead with you to do that. Really, if y'all have 10, 15 minutes, sit down and go down the hoodoo rabbit hole. It will change your life. I'm telling you. It will change how you deal with people. It will change how you deal with people at church. It will change how you handle your possessions. Go down the hoodoo rabbit hole, okay? I'm telling you. It's Bible-based, y'all. That's what makes the whole hoodoo thing so scary. It's not a religion. It's a practice based in Christianity. So I need y'all to go down, educate yourself on hoodoo, and make sure you getting put up on that game, because it's a lot of people practicing hoodoo out here in church every Sunday and y'all don't know. This is not a conversation that people have. People not gonna tell you, yeah, I got a mojo bag in my purse or around my neck, under my coat, and they not gonna tell you when I go home I'm gonna do this, that, and the third and the fourth. They not gonna tell you next week when you piss me off I'm gonna put your picture on the shrine. They not gonna do that. Okay? Be aware of what is going on. Be aware of the hoodoo and the voodoo and everything else. Okay? I thank y'all for tuning in to Couch Conversations tonight. I really, really, really do. Couch Confessions. Somebody told me they was tuning in just for Couch Confessions. So let me pull up the Couch Confessions because I thought it was so funny. Thought it was so funny. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 minute. I thought I had it on my tablet, but I don't. But I'm gonna pull it up real quick. So yeah, the Couch Confessions. If you have Couch Confessions, you can email them to at couchconversationslive@gmail.com. Put Couch Confessions in the subject line. You can also email me topics for the show or things that you would like to talk about, because I love talking about the subjects that we have. I have a list that y'all want me to talk about, so as I research them and I can really deep dive on them, I'm going to get into them. It'd be kind of hard because I have so many other things going on, especially getting ready for the block party. So I try to do as much research on these subjects as I can. I also have some interviews coming up for y'all as well. So y'all gonna really have a good season 8 of Couch Conversations this year. I really appreciate people that's been supporting and everything. So I want to make sure that I give y'all a really, really good show. Let me see. Let me find these Couch Confessions real quick, y'all. I don't want to leave the show without the Couch Confessions. What is today's date? Alright, here we go. Let's see. This should be it. Let me see. I'm trying to catch up on y'all comments. I can't wait till June either, Candy. I'm super excited to honor you and your brother. You know how much your brother meant to me, and you know how much you mean to me. And I am super excited to honor you on his behalf, because you've been holding it down since he's been gone. I'm just excited about the whole block party. I'm excited to have Black hosting. Like, Black is one of my favorite hosts, y'all. So I'm super excited to have him hosting and just everything going on. Like, y'all don't even know. I'm excited to have the media teams that will be coming out that's working with us. I'm excited to be back with my original videographer holding it down. Nerve Visuals. I'm super excited. They always give me quality products. So I'm really excited about everything going on as far as the block party goes. The fashion show is going to be amazing. Shout out to Gigi. She's putting it together and she's doing an amazing job. I'm just excited about the vendors. We have some dope vendors coming out with some different products this year. We have some of our great vendors that we usually have. So I'm just excited about the whole situation with everybody coming, and I'm just excited. Okay, let me get to these Couch Confessions. So, y'all ready for this? And I would like y'all to sound off in the comments. I love you too, Candy, because this is shenanigans. And I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I am going to read it. Okay? Y'all ready? Okay, don't laugh. I was going through it. So, my ex cheated on me bad. I'm talking about multiple people lying, gaslighting me, the whole toxic starter pack. And when I found out, I was hurt, but I was angry. I was angry because I had spent money on this man. Trips, food, helped him when he was broke. Like, I was really holding him down because I thought he was the one. So after we broke up, I had a moment. Hold on, y'all. I'm scrolling while I'm reading. I went through my phone. I added up everything I spent on him, and I sent him a Cash App request for $3,200 with a note that said, "For my emotional damages and wasted time." He obviously declined it, but then he posted it on social media. Now, I'm getting texts of people saying I'm bitter and I'm doing too much and I embarrassed myself by requesting the money. But I'm like, was it funny when he was wasting my time? So am I wrong for putting a price on my time and wanting my money back? Oh my God. Okay, so I didn't even read to the bottom. But okay, so woo Lord. Okay, so are you wrong for wanting your money back? I'ma just say this. That's some petty shit that I would do because I'm petty. I wouldn't even be expecting the money back. But I sure would have sent that Cash App request with that note just because I'm petty like that. Would I expect the money back? No. If you expect the money back, you shouldn't. But yeah, I'm just petty. I would have did it just because I'm petty. But thank you for your couch confession. And let's see, I got one more. Oh my God, this is the one that I really wanted to read. This is for all my church people out there, okay? Because I thought this was funny. Okay, so I joined the choir to get closer to God, right? Wrong. Because tell me why, within my first month there, the praise team leader tried to talk to me. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe he's just being friendly. But then one of the other girls in the choir pulls me to the side and goes, "Girl, be careful. He talks to all the new girls." So now I'm paying attention because red flag. And when I say this choir is messy, they are messy. I think the drummer is messing with two of the sopranos. The keyboard player got a girlfriend and he got a church girlfriend. And the pastor's nephew, well, I'm not even going to get started about him. But like I said, this church is not giving holiness at all. It is really giving Love and Hip Hop Sanctuary Edition. So I quietly step back. Stop coming to rehearsal. Now they blowing up my phone asking why I left, talking about I don't have commitment and I'm not spiritually mature. I'm like, no, I came here for God to get my life together and I'm not a situationship or a sneaky link. Now people are judging me saying that I'm wrong because all the churches aren't perfect. But I feel like there's a difference between imperfect and just messy. Ooh. Well, thank y'all for y'all couch conversations. I mean, your couch confessions. I appreciate it. And make sure, if you have a couch confession to share, you email me at couchconversationslive@gmail.com. All submissions will remain anonymous. I will not tell nobody who they came from. As you can see, I just read what I got, and I didn't tell who it came from. I didn't even put on my notes who it came from. I just literally copied and pasted it to my script. So, all the couch confessions will be anonymous, and I'm happy to read them here. If y'all have any more, please let me know. Y'all know, if you know me, I like the juicy dirt, because, yeah, I do. I don't like to be involved, but I sure like to read it. You could also subscribe, youtube.com/@thereal Danni Gyrl, and check out the website, Divine Management at Weebly.com. Make sure that it's DVINE, not divine. If you have questions, comments, you would like to be on the show, you would like me to discuss a certain topic, please text me at 702-578-6716. The number again is 702-578-6716. You can also email me at couchconversationslive@gmail.com and follow us on IG at Couch Conversations Live. You can message me there as well. Join us next Thursday, March 26th at 8 p.m. Pacific time as we chat about DV, aka domestic violence, but I didn't want to put it out there like that. But we'll be talking about DV next week. This is also a requested topic. If you would like to be a part of the chat next week, if you would like to be live on the show, please let me know. I know, Sherry, this is going to be your first block party, and I'm happy you coming. If you would like to be a part of the domestic violence chat next week, please let me know so that we can get you on the show. And then join us April 2nd. We'll be chatting with Devin Powers. We tried to chat with Devin last week and we were having technical difficulties. So he will be back on April 2nd. Please be back next week, March 26th at 8 p.m. for our talk about DV. Let me see. Did I miss anything? I'm trying to see if I missed anything. See y'all at the block party. Make sure you have grab your ticket. Entry is free. If you need a VIP ticket, they're $10. You can also hit me up personally. Next week, I'll be giving away 2 VIP tickets for the block party. So make sure you come back next week. Special thanks to my sponsor. I appreciate you so much, Day Flash. You don't even know. I have nothing but high praises and kind words about you. Shout out to Flash Drive LLC, our sponsors, not only for Couch Conversations, but also for the 5th annual DMEG block party right here in West Covina. So y'all stay tuned. If you on my page, you'll see the block party videos and the AI commercials and all that. So, you know, stay tuned and keep tuning in, and we gonna get it together. So my closing words for tonight are: witchcraft, hoodoo, and voodoo didn't come out of nowhere. They come from history, from struggle, from people trying to understand the world, from people rejecting church. Some people are misunderstood, but all of these things are done with intent, and that's what I need y'all to be aware of. All of these things are done with intent. Whether you believe in them or not, you should understand them before you judge them. Those are my closing words for tonight. I am your favorite talk show host, the one and only Danni Gyrl. See y'all next week as we come back and talk about domestic violence. This has been Couch Conversations Live for one more night, where nothing's off limits on the couch. So I will see y'all next week. Peace. Thank y'all for staying over an hour, and have a divine night. Love y'all.